The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Typhoon Kiko exited the Philippine area of responsibility at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It affected more than 2,000 families across regions 1, 2, 3, and the Cordillera Administrative Region. That's about more than 11,000 individuals across 97 barangays, according to the NDRRMC. Of these figures, more than 1,600 families, or over 5,000 people, are currently staying in evacuation centers. Meanwhile, 18 roads and bridges were damaged. At least 4 landslide incidents occurred in Region 1, and 19 areas were inundated across Region 3. The National Capital Region recorded over 9,000 COVID-19 cases on Saturday, a new record according to the Octa Research Group. Octa Research Fellow Professor Guido David noted that the several cities in Metro Manila recorded all-time high COVID-19 cases. These include Caloocan, Parañaque, Makati, Valenzuela, Muntinlupa, and Las Piñas. David also warned that number of daily average cases has increased to 6,063, higher than the peak last April. He added that the reproduction number in NCR is now at 1.44, while the growth rate is at 21%. Now, over in Davao City, COVID-19 deaths continue to rise. With this, cemeteries are now bracing for the worst case scenario. Gemma Vansenia with the story.
The rehabilitation of Tagakpan Public Cemetery in Davao City is now ongoing as it prepares for a possible surge in COVID-19 deaths. In a radio interview, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte said they had already designated the cemetery to be a mass grave. On Friday alone, 24 patients succumbed to COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 1,301.
Ang mass grave is ready.
Ang mass grave natin is ready. Aware na rin ng ating operations response cluster. Ang mass grave natin, we have 160 spaces that can accommodate 6 cadavers each. So 960 yung kayang i-accommodate.
Active cases in Davao City meanwhile spiked to more than 8,000 after logging 459 new cases on Friday. The influx of patients in the Southern Philippines Medical Center's COVID-19 facilities is now at an overwhelming rate. In a photo sent to News 5, some patients who were recently discharged from the SPMC are seen in a COVID-19 step-down facility. One of them is Rudy Danyo, who said most of the patients are already recovering but still under monitoring. Some barangays in Davao City are also facing difficulties since there were delays in picking up new COVID-19 patients.
Crowded na kasi kaya yung iba nasa bahay na lang. Sa awa naman ng Diyos, survivor na ngayon. Gumaling na lang, di pa nakuha. Pero minomonitor naman namin.
The Davao City LGU is ramping up its inoculation drive. City councilors rolled out mobile vaccination efforts so more residents could gain access to free vaccines. But as for Councilor Sweet Advincola, misinformation about the vaccines remains a primary challenge.
Doon yung mga sabi-sabi na kung mabakunahan daw, magiging zombie. Iba din ang fear nila na baka yung needle daw aabot na sa buto. Eh, hindi naman. So kailangan paigtingin pa ang education and information sa vaccine.
For News 5, Gem Avancenia, we are One News.
Governments around the world are now discussing the possibility of administering COVID-19 booster shots. But what does the evidence say so far about the safety and effectiveness of additional jabs? Let's find out in this video.
Booster shots. What do we know about those third doses of the vaccine so far? Are they safe and effective? Who are the people who may need them? And should the world be looking at booster shots at this stage of the pandemic? Hello and welcome to Science in 5. I'm Vismita Gupta-Smith. We are talking to Dr. Catherine O'Brien today. Welcome, Catherine. Let's start with booster shots and what we know about them so far.
Well, first, I think we should distinguish what we mean when we say booster shots. What we're really talking about right now is there a need to get a third dose of a vaccine if you've already received your first 2 doses? And there are really 3 reasons why we might want to give an additional dose. The first is you didn't respond, if you're in a category of people that didn't respond adequately to the first 2 doses that you received, we do have some information that for immunocompromised people, it may be necessary to receive a 3rd dose because those first 2 aren't doing what they do in otherwise normal healthy people. The second reason why we might give a 3rd dose is if over time the immunity that you received and achieved as a result of being vaccinated starts to wane, it starts to deteriorate or go down over time. And in fact, the evidence right now shows that the vaccines are holding up extremely well to protect you against severe disease, hospitalization, or even death. So we don't see strong evidence leading to a need to provide a 3rd dose for people who have already been vaccinated. The third reason we might want to give a 3rd dose is if the performance of the vaccines are less or inadequate against some of the variants of concern that have emerged. And again, the vaccines that we have right now against the variants, and we're watching this very carefully, are holding up extremely well against the severe end of the disease spectrum. Generally speaking, the vaccines are performing very well.
Kate, is there a scenario where certain groups of people may need this 3rd dose of a booster shot?
Right now, we do have some evidence that there's a small proportion of people, those people who have serious immunocompromising conditions, that don't seem to respond to the first 2 doses in the way that people who don't have an immunocompromising condition do. What they need is a 3rd dose, but that's really for their primary response. It's because they haven't adequately responded to the first 2 doses. But apart from the protection that a booster dose affords people, there are some other considerations. We need to know, does giving a 3rd dose actually increase the immune response? And we do see evidence that that's true, and we would expect that to be true.
Meanwhile, Vice President Leni Robredo lamented presidential spokesperson Harry Roque's outburst on health worker groups. In her weekly radio program, Robredo said Roque can disagree with the health workers' proposals, but he has no right to bully them in the IATF meeting.
Wala ka namang karapatan na mag-react the way na si Secretary Roque did. Okay naman sabihin mo hindi ka agree, pero wala kang karapatan na mambuli, mambastos.
Robredo also criticized Ombudsman Samuel Martirez's latest remarks on government officials refusing to disclose their SAL-N. Robredo said keeping such documents from the public would add mistrust with the government.
The mere fact na tinatago mo o hindi mo make available, dinadagdagan mo lang yung mistrust ng tao eh.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. A political analyst predicted a 4-cornered fight for presidency in the 2022 elections. Speaking to the Chiefs, law professor Antonio Laviña said the presidential race may come down to the following: a candidate endorsed by President Duterte or opposition candidates Senator Manny Pacquiao and Senator Panfilo Lacson. Laviña said the opposition candidate might be Vice President Leni Robredo or Manila Mayor Isko Moreno. The Interior Department defended the Bureau of Fire Protection Modernization Act, which allows firefighters to carry firearms. The DILG insisted that firefighters will only use their firearms for crowd control and self-defense. And John Arcilla won the Volpi Cup Best Actor Award at the 78th Venice International Film Festival. Arcilla won the coveted Best Actor Award for his portrayal of Sisoy Salas in Eric Mati's film On the Job, The Missing Eight. He is the first Southeast Asian actor to bag the award. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on a Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.